Hello and welcome to the Daily Fantasy 5 for this Thursday, August 1st. This is episode 162. I'm Scott Gross, and I'm bringing you the 5 things you need to know every day in the world of fantasy sports. Today, we are covering the Major League Baseball trade deadline. We also have a rookie who's going to make his debut tomorrow. And then, once we finish the news section of the show, I do have my conversation with Kris Bollin where we go through my top 100 ratings for half-point PPR fantasy football. So that's a fun conversation. But first, we'll get to the baseball news right after a word from our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, where you can pick up an online math course for as little as $9.99 to help your child, ages 7 through 17, do better in math. Their grades will improve, you'll see higher exam scores, and it can even help them get into college with one of the SAT math prep courses. Go to mathradio.com to pick up a math course today for as little as $9.99. One-time fee, no memberships, nothing else to buy, less than $10. A one-time cost of $9.99 gets you a math course which will help your child in school. Act now. Go to www.mathradio.com. All right, let's go through all the news of yesterday. It was a wild one. There were lots of deals. I'm going to go over the top 7 or so stories I think were important that happened yesterday from a fantasy standpoint. Number one, obviously the Astros pick up Zack Greinke from Arizona. So obviously this is a huge move for AL-only owners. Zack Greinke is an absolute rock star. 2.90 ERA, 0.95 WHIP is outstanding. I don't like his strikeout per inning pitched. He has 135 strikeouts for 146 innings. You would like that to be a little bit higher from a top-end ace. In a standard league, I would say this will help his value. He should certainly have a lot more wins with the Houston Astros than he had with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona also made a move to add a new starting pitcher to replace Zack Greinke. They added Mike Leake, formerly of the Reds, from the Seattle Mariners. He has a 4.27 ERA with a 1.26 WHIP. His numbers are not pretty. He only has 100 strikeouts in 137 innings pitched. So I don't think there's a lot of value there, but if you are desperate for a starter, Mike Leake is now in the National League on the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, let's move away from the trade deadline and talk about the Dodgers real quick. They have a rookie who's going to make his debut tomorrow on Friday. 21-year-old Dustin May is going to be pitching. He had, on Friday, in AAA, he has a 2.30 ERA with 24 strikeouts in 27 innings. So, I mean, would you like that strikeout rate to be a little bit higher? Yes, I would. Should you wait this one out or should you go ahead and do it? I think if the Dodgers are calling him up, they think he's going to be successful. I would go ahead and pick up Dustin May if he's still available in your league and see if you can catch lightning in a bottle. And I mean, if he gets blown out in that first game, it only costs you, one game. You can simply drop him right away. All right, moving on, the Cubs made a trade yesterday. They picked up Nicholas Castellanos from the Tigers. He's hitting .273 with 11 home runs. Apparently, he can play all over the place on defense, and he should add a little bit of pop to the struggling Cubs, who are now in second place behind the mighty St. Louis Cardinals. All right, what else do we have? Shane Green gets traded to the Atlanta Braves. He was an all-star closer from the Tigers. He has a 1.18 ERA with 22 saves on the season. It looks like he's going to be the new closer in Atlanta, although I didn't see that formally announced. But Luke Johnson has been struggling lately, so I'm assuming that Luke Johnson is going to get demoted and that Shane Green will be the new closer in Atlanta. But again, that is just speculation. However, I mean, in NL-only leagues especially, Shane Green is going to be up for auction, so I would go out and grab Shane Green if you can. Either way, he's going to be a valuable piece out of the bullpen. So you got a couple guys moving around from league to league that you need to go out and be ready for today. All right, what else do we have? The A's picked up Tanner Roark from the Reds. He has a 4.24 ERA with a 1.42 WHIP. Yikes, that WHIP is a little bit scary. He does have 108 strikeouts and 110 innings pitched, so I like the strikeout rate, but he's giving up a lot of walks, a lot of hits. That WHIP is extremely high, which makes me a little bit nervous. So be aware that even though Tanner Roark is moving to the AL, he's going to the A's. I don't see his numbers getting any better, so I would be a little leery about Tanner Roark. One player I do like adding right now is that the Rays went out and picked up Brewers first baseman Jesus Aguilar. Aguilar, sorry, Aguilar, not Aguilara. Last year, he hit 35 home runs and hit, 275? So far this season, he only has 8 home runs, and 225 is his batting average, .225. That's not good. So he's had about half the at-bats he had last year, so you would expect him to only get to, if he stayed on this pace, maybe 17 home runs, something like that. I think he's worth the risk here. He shouldn't cost that much. To pick up. Maybe the change of scenery gets him back on pace. He could have a very nice second half of the season for you if the average and the long ball picks up. That could be a steal that might win you your league. And he should not, again, cost that much. You might want to go out and trade for him. I guess he could be on the waiver wire. You might want to go ahead and pick him up if he is. And he is certainly changing leagues. So if you are in an AL-only league, that might be an opportunity for you as well. Again, lots of players changing leagues, lots of opportunity. I tried to give you the best ones today. There were a lot of other moves. I think the Washington Nationals added like three relief pitchers. Lots of stuff went on. But those are kind of the major things that you need to be aware of in fantasy baseball. All right, that's it for the news portion of the show. Now we're going to switch over and talk about my top 100 fantasy football rankings for a half PPR league like FanDuel or Draft.com. Hope you enjoy. I want to welcome Kris Bollin to the show. He was my college roommate back in the day. We were in each other's weddings, and now we play fantasy football against each other. And he's here to talk about my top 100 fantasy football rankings. Kris, how you doing, my friend?
No, I'm doing all right. Whoop, whoop.
Nice. So what did you think of my top 100? I hear you had problems with McCaffrey right off the jump.
Yeah, with number one, I mean, yeah, he gets a lot of touches. He catches a lot of balls, but, I just don't think he's a number one.
Okay. What running backs would you have above McCaffrey? Let's start there.
Well, that's a good question. I guess this year is completely different. I don't like Barkley at your number 2 overall pick, only because of Evan Ingram being gone too. So they really don't have a wide receiver, so they're going to be stacking the box. And Eli Manning just likes to fall down after he doesn't have an open receiver.
Yeah, that's my biggest question mark. My biggest question mark on Barkley is that offense is going to be awful. I think he might be the best running back in football, but, I mean, the offensive line's not good. I mean, Manning's terrible. I think you met Odell Beckham Jr. is gone. They still have Evan Ingram. But, yeah, I mean, I think he's probably my favorite running back in football right now. But, yeah, that team's going to be terrible. So, and they're going to be behind in games as well. But, I mean, if you don't have, McCaffrey and Barkley on top, who do we have up there? I mean, do you have Kamara or Elliott as your number one?
I like Kamara. He's explosive.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with the Saints offseason moves. Who's their other running back though?
So they brought in Lamar Miller to kind of play that what's his name is the Ingram role. So the role should be about the same for Kamara as it was last year. I don't expect him to get any more touches than he did last year. Let me just see here. I know he had a lot of targets last year. He had 194 carries last year and then 81 receptions. So that's a lot of touches on the football. So I can't imagine he's going to have that many more than what he's already got. But, I mean, if he puts up the production from last year, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and he's probably going to be getting the ball a lot more than what, because they were splitting time between Ingram and Kamara. And, the Saints love to throw the football, of course. So Kamara is basically their lead role, kind of like, because they used to have a thunder and lightning type threat like Carolina used to have, but there's really no thunder lightning with that guy as your second running back.
Yeah,
so
it was the running back from Illinois back in the day. What was his name? Pierre Thomas.
Yeah, Pierre Thomas. Yeah, and no one really gave him much credit, and they really didn't give him the ball. But I think his career rushing average was 5.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons too.
Yeah, and I don't know why they just didn't give him the ball or why they didn't like him. But I mean, every time I was watching a Saints game, they seemed to be on his bandwagon. But it didn't result in him carrying the workload. But that's Pierre Thomas, and that's from 6 years ago?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's drafting Pierre Thomas this year. But you know what else I like about Kamara is the Saints, at least last year, they turned more towards the running game. I don't know if that's to protect Breeze or what the reason is, but they ran the ball a lot more, and they really counted on their defense. And I think they're going to have a lot of leads late in games, and they're going to count on Kamara to score towards the end zone and, kind of carry the ball to run out the clock at the end of the game. So I definitely like Kamara a lot. I had him at number 4. I moved him up to number 3. So I dropped Elliott just today to number 5. What's your feelings on Ezekiel Elliott?
The whole Cowboys is scary. The whole Cowboys situation. I mean, they always have a good offensive line. I don't know if they lost too many players on that line. I like Elliott. I like him better than Barkley, and I might like him better than Kamara, just because he puts up solid numbers and he doesn't fumble the ball.
And it seems like when he's not suspended, he's out there playing most games,
Yeah.
And I mean, he avoided the whole suspension issue, but I mean, he's in Cabo right now instead of training camp.
Right. That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, that's kind of why I feel like there's 4 elite guys. You got Barkley, Elliott, McCaffrey, and Kamara at kind of the top. And I'm thinking about moving Elliott out just because I don't know if he's going to play. I mean, I really liked what's his name, Gordon for San Diego, but I mean, it doesn't seem like he's going to come back at all if they don't give him a contract. So,
oh really?
Yeah, I mean,
he's that's why he's not okay. That's why he's at 28.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got him all the way down at 28 right now because
you have him underneath Marlon Mack.
Yeah, well, yes, I do. It does sound ridiculous when you say it like that. But, I mean, my strategy going into a draft is that you can't really win a draft in the first 2 rounds, but you can certainly lose a draft. And if you draft Gordon just like people drafted Bell last year and he doesn't play, I mean, you're totally screwed if you waste a first-round pick like that.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know how high I can pick him. I actually did pick him in a best ball league about a week ago, and I certainly don't like my team right now. I drafted him in the 2nd round. I thought it was good value at the time, and it doesn't seem to be that way. But, I mean, all these guys that are holding out, I don't know, it makes me a little bit nervous. But, yeah, he's in Cabo right now. Elliott is. Gordon said he's not coming back unless he gets an extension or he's traded. I guess the team and the Chargers, exchanged offers, and neither side was happy, so now it's just a stalemate. So who knows what happens to that situation.
Who's your gosh dang, I can't remember. Oh, there you have Todd Gurley at number 25. Really? You're down on Gurley, huh?
So, yeah, I think a lot of people are picking him at the turn in the first round, around pick 12 or 13. I'm trying to find where he's at on ESPN, and I'm not coming up with where his ADP is on ESPN for whatever reason. But I don't know. He finished the season last year with a knee injury. His own doctor said it was an arthritic situation. So, to me, that means it's just going to get worse and worse as the weeks go by. So certainly I feel like if you're in kind of a standard league, I mean, what is he going to be able to do once the playoffs come around, in weeks 14, 15, 16? I think he's going to be not that he's going to be worthless, but if that need degenerates over the season, I mean, that's going to be trouble at the end of the year. And my favorite college running back outside of Jacobs was Henderson, and then he ended up getting drafted by the Rams. So, I mean, the guy averaged 8.2 carries over the last 2 years at Memphis. I mean, I know it's Memphis. It's not like it's Alabama, but the guy is a freaking beast. And I think if Gurley sits out a few games, Henderson's just going to get it in there and not give up the job. And, I mean, he's going to be the starter. So That's why I've got him so
bold.
And, I mean, you know how much I love Gurley. I mean, you beat me, I think, 4 weeks in a row last year. And then I'm like, all right, I'm just going to start Gurley every week. And I went on my run and won it. So, I mean, I love Todd Gurley, but that knee just scares me. And, ESPN has him ranked as the number 6 running back going 10th overall. So. I'm certainly a lot lower than ESPN is for sure. I'm
So you have Chubb at 16. Who did they add as their other running back?
So they have Kareem Hunt from the Chiefs, but he is suspended, I believe, for the first 6 weeks, and then they have a bye week in week 7. So how long will it take him to get back into game shape once he comes back from suspension? Because I don't believe you can even practice with the team when you're suspended like that. So he'll be able to be in training camp now, I believe. But once the season starts, I don't think he can have any, participation with a team. So I'm not sure how soon he will come back. So I think you're pretty safe for at least 8 weeks with Chubb. And then after that, who knows? But I think Chubb is awesome. I'm not sure he would give up the job to any – there's some running backs that are better than he is, but I think he's incredible. The thing that makes me more worried about Chubb is all the other offensive weapons they have, like Njoku in the red zone. You got Odell Beckham Jr. now. I'm forgetting somebody.
Jarvis
Landry, yeah. So there's a lot of other mouths to feed in that offense. So that's what really worries me more about Chubb than Kareem Hunt does.
I love Chubb. I had him last year in my fantasy league, and oh my gosh, he saved my team.
Yeah.
I started off 0-7, and it was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna come back. But I ended up winning the rest of my games, and for whatever reason, I was allowed to make the playoffs at 6-7. And a big
Nice.
reason of that, well, I had Chubb and I had Barkley. So
Okay.
the two guys that I'm downing, I had last year, and they helped me out tremendously. But then I also added Mahomes after the second week or after the third week. No, it was
Oh,
after the
wow.
second week. So
Yeah, probably
like he was
second.
still out there, and I'm like, well, why not try it? Who knows? I mean, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had those three guys. I was kind of really surprised I really didn't win as many games going forward, but I guess it didn't matter in the end because I still made the playoffs. I actually made it to the semifinals, but then I got my butt whooped. But
Right.
um, that's,
I
I
mean,
mean, oh well.
three guys like that can carry you a long way, though. I mean, those are three elite players at their positions. So,
Yeah, well, and that's why I was able to start winning games after game after game.
absolutely. So, we talked earlier in the week about Julio Jones, and he didn't like his ranking at number 8. Since the news came out that he's not going to participate in the preseason, I've bumped him down to number 10. I put him behind Hill and Smith-Schuster. So, do you like that ranking any better than number 8?
No, so did they? Who do they have as their other wide receivers? You have Sanu.
Ridley
Who's
was
the
the
slot?
rookie.
Oh, Ridley, yeah. So he's going to have a lot of higher upside just because he knows the offense now. And he did pop off for some games last year. I mean, I love Smith Schuster just because he's the man now in Pittsburgh. And, he stepped into that role when AB decided to just sit for no reason. And he
Yeah,
stepped into that role and filled his shoes.
and I mean, as the number 2 wide receiver in Pittsburgh last year, he had 166 targets, which I think was top 5 in the NFL, and that's as the number 2 wide receiver. I mean, I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is going to throw for over 5,000 yards again, but I mean, I don't know how you can not like Juju in that offense. I mean, I think he's just going to be a
Right.
monster.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't. And I think I would have dropped Julio maybe more than just 2 spots, but
Okay.
he is. I saw that. I saw that last night that he's deciding to sit out the entire preseason. I'm like, what a joke! He's going to be practicing with his team. What you tell him his teammates? Um,
Right.
but typically they sit out after that third game. They really sit for that first game. Then they play a half that second game, and then they play, let's say, 3/4 of that third game, and then sit out that fourth game. And it's not really like he's going to be getting hit. So I guess I just don't agree with what he's doing. But I guess he's only been in the league for 9 seasons, which for a wide receiver, that's not too old. But I mean, that's 31. What's their prime time in football, NFL? Like,
I mean,
because
wide
I
receivers
think
take
baseball is 32.
Yeah, wide receivers take a little longer to, get acclimated to the league, whereas running backs come into the league and they're great for the first 4 years and then they're kind of done by the age of 26 or
Right.
27. I would say wide receivers really start, their third or fourth year into the league to be who they're going to be. So I'd say from age like 26, 27 to 32, 33 is their prime if you want to have a 4 or 5 year prime, something like that. So I'd say,
So
Julio
he's
Jones
right
is
in the
probably on the
middle.
down end. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, my thing is like I hate this whole sitting out the 4 games. Maybe it's just like a karma thing, but I just feel like guys who sit out for that period of time or who are coming off a suspension or something, just guys who haven't been playing, come back cold, and it's just such an easy way to get injured again. I just feel like that's when you pull a hamstring or you do whatever when you just haven't been playing because a practice rep is not the same thing as a game rep, even if it's preseason.
Right.
So, yeah, that's why I'm nervous about Julio, too. But, I mean, how far are we going to move him down? Like, do you like Michael Thomas better than him? Let's go through the names.
He's still with the Saints, right?
Yep. He just signed a
Okay. Yeah.
$100 million contract, actually. So
Okay. So yeah. Yeah. He's gonna. Well, shit. You say that, and he might not care about
that's probably true, too.
receptions. It's like baseball. But he might start. I mean, yeah. Before that extension, I like Thomas.
All right, let's see who else I have
Drew
behind.
Brees Drew Brees can find anybody. Who's their new tight end?
He's
Saints.
from the Raiders. His name is it's
Oh, is
here.
it Kirk? Is it Cook?
No. The Saints tight end is now Cook. Yeah, Cook. Sorry, Jared Cook.
Yeah, Jared Cook. So that's a pretty darn good tight end too. But
He put up
Michael
big numbers
Thomas,
in Oakland. So I mean, if you can put up numbers in Oakland, you would think you could put up numbers in New Orleans. So
right? Yeah, exactly. So then they know how to run their offense better than what Oakland does, in my opinion. But
okay, well, what about this one? Would you rather have Julio Jones or what's his name, Brown, the new Raider, Antonio Brown?
Julio Jones.
Okay, so I mean, it's not too far off. I think with the Julio thing, maybe just a couple more slots, and you'd be happy there.
Right, there you go. Yeah, so you had Brown at 12 and Jones at 8, but now Jones is down at 10 and Brown's staying at 12.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to move Brown. What about the tight end position? Are you taking Kelsey in the first or second round? I mean, are you spending high on a tight end? Or are you going to wait and grab somebody else? What's your feeling about the tight end position?
I'm in a different situation here since I have my keeper is Mahomes, but my keeper is Mahomes going to be in the 14th round. So, I want to grab Kelsey if I'm drafting late.
Okay.
And it's only a 10-team league too. So if I'm drafting ninth, then I'll try to scoop him up with that 13th pick.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I guess it'd be the 12th pick. My fault.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've got him ranked at 13. I don't like drafting him in the first round. I don't know. It makes your team not chemistry, but your team construction a little weird when you draft a tight end in the first round. It kind of messes up everything, at least from what I've been doing. So I'd much rather get a wide receiver, or running back, and then grab a tight end in the second if he's still there, or one of the guys in the third round too. All right. So what else on the list? You mentioned Mac earlier. You don't like Mac, or what's going on with Mac there at 24?
I don't know. It's just I watch a lot of the Colts games just because I don't have the Sunday ticket, and they're always on CBS. And every time I watch them, I'm just like, ugh. I don't see anything spectacular with him. Yeah, I don't know what his average is. Maybe it's only like 3.5 yards per carry.
Right. Well, the thing I don't like about him is he never catches the ball. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and true. It's a half-point PPR league too, so you got to worry about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, but he's the man in Indianapolis. I don't know who else they even have to run the ball at all.
Well, my new favorite guy he's in my top 100 now. He's my last guy on the list is Nyheim Hines. He's the backup running back. He's a third down guy.
Right.
Last year he had, he only ran the ball 88 times, but he had 425 receiving yards. So I figure Nyheim Hines is a good guy to have on your bench because he can go out there and get production on third down like in a normal week. And then if Mac ever gets injured, I mean, he could be pretty, a pretty useful piece. Something like Tariq Cohen if he's actually gets more reps, more than 5 yards or 5 carries a game, something like that. So yeah, I like Nyheim Hines a lot. As far as Indianapolis running backs go, I hate T.Y. Hilton. I don't know if you noticed, but I have Hilton way down on my list, number 38. What are your feelings about Hilton?
Yeah, nothing.
Same thing.
No problem. No problems there.
Okay.
I mean, you can go lower if you want, but
even lower. All right, we don't like T.Y. Very good.
No, I don't know. I don't know why. There's nothing. I don't have anything against him. He puts up solid numbers. Just I don't know. I guess I just don't. And my dad and my sister are big Colts fans, so it's just I don't like the Colts.
Fair enough.
I steer away from all of them.
For whatever reason, I thought you actually like the Chiefs. That's who you like over there, right?
Well, starting last year.
Well, of teams that are close to where you live, you like the Chiefs better than the Colts.
Well, I call myself a Bears fan just because I live in Springfield, Illinois, but I got so sick of just spending time trying to watch them because they were just boring to watch. But they're going to be exciting this year. My team is still going to be Kansas City though, just because they're exciting to watch. Even though their defense isn't that good, it might be better if Kansas City doesn't score in a minute. You know,
Well, that's one of the problems is that offense has to just destroy that defense. I was talking about it the
right?
other day with Arizona's going to run the same style of offense where you're just running play after play after play, and that just destroys your defense because one way or the other, whether they score or give up the ball, your defense gets no time to rest. So, I mean,
Exactly.
it's good for fantasy offenses, not good for defenses or real life football.
Yeah, it's not good for if you pick the Kansas City Chiefs as your defense.
Oh no, why would you do that? Don't do that. Don't
Well,
do that.
2 years ago they led the league in defense in defensive points.
I think they finished top 5 last year actually as a fantasy defense, which
Really? Huh.
I could be wrong, but I believe that's correct. I don't want to look it up right now, but yeah, I think that's about right. But anyway, yeah, Kansas City. I was going to ask you this other question if we're going to join this other tangent. I like to do this thing every year called the Shotgun Super Bowl prediction, where before the season starts, I pick 5 teams that can win the Super Bowl because typically you're not going to have a team less than 6-1 to win it all. And last year I hit it with the Patriots. And I'm trying to come up with my 5 teams this year, and I feel like it's got to be the Patriots again, the Chiefs, like the Eagles, and then I don't know who I'm going to take for my 2 last teams. Like, do I have to take the Rams if I don't think Gurley's going to be that good, and I don't think the defense is going to be that good either?
Well,
Who
no.
who do you think the other 2 teams are?
You can legitimately take the Bears. They're looking for a kicker. So I kind of find it hard to believe that there's not one out there that can actually make field goals besides hitting the side. I don't know even what you call it, but besides hitting the sidebar.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that
6
was
times
not
in
good.
a year.
That was definitely not good. Oh, I'm sorry. My 4th team is the Chargers, so I have one more slot open. So you think it's the Bears, huh?
Yeah, and you say the Chargers. Yeah, I mean you always Chargers. You can't go to sleep on.
The Chargers team, I went through all the teams just so I could do over-unders. Man, I went through the entire schedule, Chris. I shouldn't be, this is going to come out later, but the Chargers ended up with the most wins of any team that I went through. And I mean, their team is awesome. Like, they have skill at every position. The defense is great. They've got weapons all over the offense. I mean, if Melvin Gordon doesn't play, I mean,
I was going to
that
say. So
hurts.
what happens if?
Well, they still
if
have Eckley, who I
Gordon,
like a lot.
yeah.
And I also like, what's his name? Jackson, the rookie last year. He was all right.
So heck, Jackson as a running back.
Yeah. He was a
So
rookie. Go ahead.
I got Heckler when Gordon sat out. What was it, 3 or 4 games?
Last year?
And yeah, Eckler. And when so I'm like, sweet, he's going to be he's a starting guy. And he didn't give me any points in any of the games that he
Right.
played in. So, you just don't know what he's going to do if he has to step it up again. But I see you have him at 71.
I mean, I think it's worth a gamble at 71, I guess. Yeah, with the Gordon situation. I don't know. I'm irrationally in love with the Chargers this year, I think. So, but yeah, you like the Bears. My other choices, I was thinking about the Rams, obviously. Who was the other team? The Packers. The Packers was the other team. I think that defense is going to be a lot better. No. You don't agree with that one.
Fan. I'm supposed to be a Bears fan, Scott.
I mean, well, I live closer to Tampa now, and I'm certainly not a Tampa fan. So.
Right. But you can pick your Florida teams.
Yeah. What do I have to choose from here? I've got Tampa, I've got Miami. Am I missing one? It's all pretty terrible. Is there a third Florida team that I'm forgetting, and they're that bad?
There has to be, because you have about 6 baseball teams.
That's true. So it's the Dolphins, the Buccaneers.
I can't think right now.
I don't think there's another team either. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we're going down the bad rabbit hole here. Is there any other big things on the list that you saw that you didn't like?
Yeah. So Kerryon Johnson, right? Okay. He's running back for Detroit. Didn't Detroit just waive Theo Riddick?
They did. So basically,
he might
go ahead.
So I'm thinking that he might actually go up. Stafford just throws the ball way too much, and they can't continue to do that. I mean, supposedly he had the worst year of his life last year, and believe me, I was frustrated because I had him starting off the season, and he did nothing for me. But I think he put up the top. I think it was a top 5 quarterback at least. I want to say top 3 quarterback, but that he can't just throw the ball and throw the ball and throw the ball. And now that Reddick's not there, that just leaves the door open for him. And he did well when you didn't watch a lot of Detroit games. Obviously,
no,
they were on Thanksgiving. But if you're paying attention to I'm sure a lot of people are, but in the stat cast or whatever of the game cast of your fantasy football week, Kerryon Johnson got a lot of yards and did a lot of scoring. Um, Now he might be able to find the end zone more just because of that absence.
Well, and also Riddick seemed to handle the third down plays, and he had a lot of receptions. I don't have the number in front of me, but there was a lot of catches. And I mean, Kerryon Johnson can catch the ball. He had 30-something receptions last year, and I mean, he's just going to get more of a lion's share of the work, pun intended there. I like Kerryon Johnson a lot. ESPN has him rated at the 46th overall, and I've got him at 33, so I've got him 13 spots higher than ADP. And, yeah, with that Riddick news, I moved him up a lot just because I think he'll stay on the field all 3 downs. The backup – oh, man, who's the backup? I can't remember now, but he can't catch the ball for anything. Oh, C.J. Anderson, the guy from the Rams last year.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I think Kerryon Johnson is going to be an absolute beast this year, I think. But the problem is, right, Detroit's going to be down a lot. I mean, they're not a good football team. So are they going to continue to run the ball if they're down 14 points in the third quarter? That's my biggest. It's kind of like they are. They don't have another choice. All right, fair enough.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think they're going to be more ball possession, and I think they're going to be more careful with the ball in the first and second quarters. So how do you do that? You run the ball and you take time possession and you throw the ball 5 yards down the field. And then you take your shots. But who are their wide receivers?
Any
that you know
of? The Lions wide receivers.
There's one that's good, right? What's his name?
There used to be Golden Tate was on their team a long time ago, but he's not on their team anymore.
He's on the Eagles, isn't he?
Well, he's suspended too. So they have Kenny Galladay is the guy.
Yeah. Galladay, and then I thought they had another one, but I guess not. But
Marvin Jones Jr. is on the team, but I don't think he's very good.
Well, he might not be very good, but I mean, he takes the top off the defense, and he's good for explosive plays. So it could be like a 2nd and 6, and they'll throw the ball down the field to him and try to let him score. But I think there'll be a lot of checkdowns to the wide receivers and to Riddick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not
I don't like
Riddick, but never mind. Carry on.
Kerryon Johnson. Yeah. I don't like the Lions team at all this year. I just think they're boring, and I don't think the offense is going to do anything.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that they're going to be interesting and fun to watch. Just saying.
You just think Kerryon Johnson is going to be good. Okay, right, I like it. Okay. What else you got for me here? Any other plays I'm screwing up on here, in your opinion?
So you have Howard at 63, and you have Cohen at 44.
Nope. That Howard is O.J. Howard, the tight end from Tampa. I have Jordan Howard at 99.
Wow.
So he's with Philadelphia now. He's not with the Bears anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So the Bears brought in Davis to kind of fill in that Howard role. They're about the same.
There you go.
Player.
See, I tell you that I'm supposed to be a Bears fan, but then I don't even know that happened.
Well, they also signed, that they didn't sign. They drafted a running back that everybody likes. What's his name? Mike Montgomery or something like that.
Okay.
People absolutely love this kid. I think Tariq Cohen is going to be, I don't know, he's already a dynamic in the passing game. And I think Tariq Cohen is the one that benefits, from Howard leaving, not a rookie in Montgomery who they don't really trust, and Davis, who's new to the team, who was okay last year, but nothing special. So
no, I like Cohen a lot. He's quick. He's pretty good at returning punts. Yeah, if you don't have score points for special teams, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I mean, aside from the touchdowns, but no, I like Cohen. He might be better than 44 then in my book.
Yeah, I'm trying to look him up right now where he is in ADP. ESPN has him at 76, Chris.
Really?
So I've got him with like 30 spots higher than ESPN. It's probably why I end up with him in like 90% of my leagues in best ball right now. So, yeah, I've got a lot of I end up with James White and Tariq Cohen in at least half my leagues just because I like to get my running backs kind of in the middle of that. That's where the sweet spot is, in my opinion. You can grab guys like Phillip Lindsay and Chris Carson, those type of players, and I always end up with those guys. Seems like every single time.
So you like James White over Sonny Michel?
So Sony Michel, that knee just scares he had another procedure this offseason, then it aggravated again, 2 weeks ago. So if anything, I like the rookie from Alabama, Damian Harris, more than I like Sony Michel. I don't have him ranked that way. I still have Michel top 30 running
70.
backs. I have number 70, yeah, versus the rookie, Damian Harris. I have 98. But I think Damian Harris, if he's healthy at the beginning of the year, he's the kind of player that Belichick likes. He doesn't fumble. He does like exactly what the coach asks. He was kind of the leader of the Alabama team last year. So I think he can come in and take the job away from Sony Michel, even though Sony's talented. I don't think the Patriots used him right. He was a guy that could catch passes. He was dynamic in the Patriots system. They want him to be like what was his name, Blunt, who scored like 14 touchdowns a few years ago. And I don't think he's that player. And I don't know, that knee scares me too. So
one last comment, Damian Williams. I think he's a little low there in my book. Kansas City always has great running backs.
Yeah. So, man, he didn't play much last year. I really should move him up, I think. My whole thing at the beginning of this was that I thought that Hyde was better than he is, and Hyde is not a good player after I've done some more research. So he doesn't really have much competition in Kansas City this year, and you're right. He might be better than that. Yeah, you might definitely be right about that with the Damian Williams pick. I've seen him go in the first round. I've seen him go in the second round. So, yeah, people definitely like Damian Williams for sure. But all right, nothing else on that list. I like it, Kris. Thank you so much for all the feedback. I do have to ask you for a little help. I'm drafting right now. Let me have you pick a wide receiver for me here. So
I'm in a first pick. Why would you want to do that?
Well, you obviously haven't listened. It's not my first pick. It's a best ball league. It's like my 11th pick here.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So it's your 11th pick?
So, yeah, this is my 11th pick. It's a 18-man roster. So I need a wide receiver. I'm thin at wide receiver. So my choices are DK Metcalf, the rookie out of Seattle, who might win that wide receiver number 2 job. Tyrell Williams, he used to be with not San Diego anymore. They're called the Los Angeles Chargers. Last year, he's now with Oakland. He's their number 2. Anthony Miller, your Chicago Bear, and Paris Campbell, the rookie from Indianapolis. Who do you like?
So, I would go with the Bears pick because I don't know about Metcalf. I don't know that other rookie. So by default, Tyrell Williams, he's the only other non-rookie. I heard a lot about Anthony Miller last year and saw a lot from Anthony Miller last year. So I think he's a solid pick.
Yeah, he had 7 touchdowns on like 36 catches last year, which is crazy.
Yeah, he didn't really come off until the second half of the season was when you first started seeing him actually play and catch balls.
Yeah, I think Anthony Miller is the guy who kept separating his shoulder, and he actually had surgery this offseason to kind of fix it. I think it got separated 4 times last year or some craziness. Do you remember hearing this? Maybe I'm thinking
No, I don't really. No, it could be. I don't know. I didn't really follow the Bears last year.
I don't know. I thought I heard that story.
First year following them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, all right. I'm drafting Anthony Miller right now then. Boom. He's on my team. So you want to hear this horrible team? I got Kyler Murray as my quarterback. This is the team where I went with Melvin Gordon. So I got David Johnson from the Cardinals, Melvin Gordon, James White, Chris Carson, and Henderson, the backup in the Rams. And then I've got Thielen from Minnesota, Valdez Scantling from Green Bay, and the rookie from New England. So my wide receivers are awful. Absolutely awful. And I got Njoku at tight end. So, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good. But, hey, it's best ball, so.
I don't know. It's a bunch of nonsense. You just try to take guys with upside at this point. I don't know. I just can't stop doing these stupid leagues over and over again. Anyway, all right, Kris, any other final thoughts for you? Who you got for the Super Bowl?
Chiefs. The
Chiefs win it all. I think I'm going to take the Patriots again. Although I like the Packers, but I don't know. You don't like the Packers. All right. Well, hopefully you come back during the season and we can talk about daily fantasy. I don't know. I like that even better than best ball or year-long leagues. I like doing the weekly thing. So I don't know how we finished last year. I feel like it was about 8-8 last
year. Yeah, I think it was about even.
Yeah, maybe you remember it differently than I do, but hopefully we can come up with something this year.
All right, cool.
We were definitely streaky last year. I know you won like 4 weeks in a row, and then I won 4 in a row, and yeah, my wife made fun of me a lot for not being able to beat you. She's like, you spend so much time on this, and he beats you every week. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Whatever. I'm done talking about this. Anyway.
Yeah, I throw darts from time to time.
Well,
Arizona
sometimes they hit, you know. So,
did. Yeah.
all right, Kris, thanks a bunch for being on. I greatly appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I think Kris did a great job on the podcast. Hopefully, we'll have him back on during the season to talk some daily fantasy football weeks. I did want to mention the other Florida team we couldn't come up with was the Jacksonville Jaguars. As I sit here and edit the podcast, yes, we forgot all about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think the rest of the NFL has too. That team is going to be terrible this year. Anyway, thanks for listening to the show. Please check out our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, where you can pick up an online math course for as little as $9.99. And if you've gotten this far, go ahead and give us a like on YouTube and all that other good stuff, Facebook, Twitter. We'd appreciate it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would really help us out a lot. And if you're listening to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, all that good podcatchers, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and a review. That would be awesome sauce. We will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.